Hello, fellow TV and film fanatics. My name is Greg, and I make recommendations for the best TV shows and movies you can check out from the comfort of your own home. And 2025 has had some outstanding new and returning TV shows this year, and then some, well, questionable options. So I wanted to take some time to talk through some of the best options to jump into. The list includes so many different genres with sci-fi, action, adventure, drama, sports, thrillers, comedy, and pretty much everything in between, so hopefully a show for everyone. But as always, stop mindlessly scrolling, stop wasting your time, and let's jump in and check it out.
Thank you for finding the time.
First on our list here today, and in my opinion, one of the standout shows of 2025, and this is Daredevil Born Again. This was definitely a highly anticipated revival and continuation of the beloved Daredevil series that originally aired on Netflix. The series picks up with Matt Murdock focusing more on his law career after the collateral damage caused by his vigilante activities. Meanwhile, his longtime nemesis, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, is running for mayor of New York City, aiming to extend his power through political means. Their personal history and conflicting ideologies are set to collide, pulling them into another dangerous conflict. I know that I was pumped about this series before it ever hit the screen. I love the original, and with all the rumblings or rewrites and how they were going back to the feel of the original series, I was extremely hyped, and just getting to see the return of iconic characters such as Charlie Cox as Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, along with others like Karen Page, Foggy Nelson, and The Punisher. After watching this one, they met the hype in my eyes and was worth the wait. Born Again brings the gritty, mature tone of the Netflix series into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, combining intense action sequences, character development, and a deep dive into the moral gray areas that define Daredevil's world. And if you are a longtime or diehard Marvel fan, a fun added layer here is all the interconnectedness with the broader MCU and what looks like some setups for potential future shows or movies, which I really enjoy. So if you are like me and love the Netflix Daredevil series, or just enjoy gritty, grounded superhero action, complex characters, and the exploration of the blurred lines between hero and villain, Daredevil Born Again is an outstanding watch.
From distant planets.
Next, we have one of the biggest sci-fi shows of the entire year, and this is Alien Earth. FX and Hulu took the classic science fiction horror franchise and delivered something bold and genuinely awesome. It seems like it has instantly become a massive hit since a second season has already been confirmed, so it is a perfect series to take on for yourself. The story takes place in the year 2021, and for the first time in the main Alien timeline, the Terror finally makes it to Earth. When a Wayland research ship crashes into a massive corporate city, it unleashes xenomorphs and other experiments onto an unsuspecting civilian population. What follows is chaos on a scale the franchise has never really shown before. At the center of it all is Wendy, who is a young girl whose mind has been transferred into an adult synthetic body. She is part of a group known as the Lost Boys, children who were resurrected as hybrids by a powerful corporation. But as the xenomorph threat spreads, Wendy and her group must fight to survive not only the creatures themselves, but also the corporations that created them and see them as property. Alien Earth's new setting allows the franchise to do some incredible world building in this series. Instead of a spaceship or an isolated outpost, the xenomorph is now loose in a massive futuristic city. The contrast between the clean corporate architecture and the raw biological horror gives the show a fresh visual identity. The series is created by Noah Hawley, the mind behind Fargo and Legion, and you can certainly feel his style throughout the show. And this is not just a monster story, it explores identity, technology, and the cost of corporate greed. It brings emotional weight and real depth to a franchise known for its tension and fear. I also enjoyed how they respected the legacy of the original films, but pushes the franchise forward with new ideas and a modern style. It is intense, thought-provoking, and completely gripping from start to finish. So if you love smart science fiction and creature-driven horror, this is definitely worth checking out.
You ever look at something you've been staring at for so long, you suddenly realize you stopped seeing it a long time ago?
Next up, let's talk about one of my absolute favorites from this year, and this is another quality option from Apple TV Plus, and this is Your Friends and Neighbors. This darkly comedic thriller series follows Andrew Coop Cooper, played by John Hamm, who is a recently divorced hedge fund manager who finds himself in financial ruin after losing his high-paying job. To maintain the lifestyle he's accustomed to and meet his family's expectations, Coop resorts to stealing from his wealthy neighbors in the upscale community of Westmont Village. But his foray into becoming a thief takes a dark turn as he gets entangled in a sticky situation and so many lies that threaten the seemingly perfect world around him. Before even watching this, the engaging premise set the stage for a tense, suspenseful narrative filled with unexpected twists that I was so ready for. Jon Hamm's performance is one of the key draws of the series. His portrayal of Coop brings the same charismatic yet morally ambiguous qualities that made his role in Mad Men so memorable. The show features an intriguing internal monologue from Coop, which adds layers to his character and offers you a glimpse into his conflicted mind. Also, the sharp writing blends dark humor with dramatic tension, fully complementing Hamm's performance. Coop's interactions with his neighbors are often very unexpected and charged with suspense and at times a bit of humor, which makes each episode feel like a thrilling ride through the complexities of crime, wealth, and family. I said this when I recommended this one before, but Your Friends and Neighbors boasts a strong supporting cast, including Amanda Peet, Olivia Munn, Hoon Lee, Mark Tallman, and Isabel Gravitt, and each one of them adds further depth to the series. All of their journeys are intriguing to follow along with from start to finish. Plus, this is Apple TV Plus. The series has a huge budget and deliver incredible production and quality. From the sets to the story itself, you can tell they spared no expense creating this intriguing world. 100% worth checking out for yourself.
Down to 89.
Wait, I've got it.
Stats coming up.
We got skills!
That was baptism by fire.
That was more like baptism by blood.
Let's move on and talk about our first HBO Max option on the list here today, and this is The Pitt, which is a gripping medical drama that delves into the intense and often overwhelming world of a struggling public hospital. The series follows Dr. Michael Robbie Rubinovich, played by Noah Weil. Robbie is a brilliant but unorthodox physician dedicated to his patients while navigating the systemic challenges of a healthcare system stretched thin. The show provides a realistic and gritty portrayal of life in the medical field, highlighting the difficulties faced by the hospital staff, including underfunding, burnout, and the constant influx of patients with complex needs. I said this before when recommending this, and it still stands, but I am not always pumped to check out medical dramas, but honestly, this one is different. I really enjoyed the format of this first season, with each episode focusing on approximately an hour of these characters' shifts. You could really feel the intensity and chaos of the environment, and yes, it did still include the normal elements of medical dramas that focus a lot of its attention on the human side of medicine, blending compelling patient stories with the personal struggles of the doctors and nurses. But it kept things moving, which helped me stay highly engaged. Noah Weil's return to a medical drama is certainly an element that added some hype when this was being released, but he is awesome as this series' central character. I actually read a lot of people are comparing his role in this to his iconic performance in ER. Weil brings depth and authenticity to his character, capturing the emotional toll that comes with the profession and his dynamic and chemistry with the hospital staff as they cope with the pressures of their work and the realities of the healthcare system adds a powerful layer to the narrative, making the show both engaging and emotionally charged. The Pitt isn't just another hospital drama. This one is a sobering look at the challenges faced by public hospitals, from the personal struggles of the medical professionals to the broader issues of systemic healthcare failure. But if you're a fan of character-driven narratives, high-stakes medical cases, and emotional storytelling, The Pitt is the medical drama I'd recommend.
My own department. Just me. Do I need a car?
No, we can't just give you a car. This isn't The Price is Right.
Another hit from 2025 and one of the biggest crime dramas of the entire year is Dept Q. This Netflix series took the international best-selling novels and transformed them into a dark, gripping mystery set in the shadowy streets of Edinburgh. The story follows Detective Chief Inspector Carl Mork, who is punished by being sent to the basement of the police station and assigned to a brand new cold case unit called Dept Q. It is a dingy former shower room, and it is the last place a brilliant but difficult detective expects to end up. Carl is quickly paired with two unlikely partners, Rose, a gifted but deeply traumatized cadet, and Akram, a former Syrian police officer who is now working as a civilian assistant. Together, this small misfit team takes on their first case, the disappearance of a high-profile prosecutor who vanished 4 years earlier and is presumed dead. As the investigation unfolds, the show uses a gripping dual timeline, revealing the truth piece by piece while showing the victim fighting to survive in real time. Matthew Goode is the heart of the series. He plays this grumpy, sarcastic, emotionally shut down detective who pushes everyone away, yet slowly, reluctantly starts to bond with his team. Critics called his performance the dark, shining center center of the show, and it really is the main reason you keep watching. You cannot help but root for him even when he is the worst. So if you enjoy series like Broadchurch or The Killing, Dept Q delivers that same emotional weight and slow-burning suspense paired with a clever mystery and unforgettable characters. It is one of the strongest crime dramas of the year. Let's move forward and talk about Chief of War, which was released on Apple TV Plus on August 1st. This is a 9-episode historical epic following the unification of the Hawaiian Islands and tells that story almost entirely from an indigenous perspective. It is sweeping, emotional, and one of the most visually stunning shows of the year. At the center of the story is Jason Momoa in one of his most personal and commanding roles yet. His character is a powerful war chief who returns home after seeing European weapons and ships for the first time. What he finds is a nation divided into 4 warring kingdoms and a prophecy that promises a single ruler will rise to unify the islands. He understands the threat that foreign powers represent, and he knows that without unity, colonization is inevitable. And his struggle between loyalty, leadership, and survival drives the entire series. Momoa co-created and co-wrote the series, and the cast is made up almost entirely of Polynesian actors. Large portions of the dialogue are spoken in the Hawaiian language, and the show treats the culture, the traditions, and the history with incredible respect. It feels like a story told from the inside, not a dramatized Western version of Hawaiian history. The scale is also massive. Apple invested a feature film level budget, and it shows in the sweeping landscapes, the naval battles, and the intense hand-to-hand combat. It is a political thriller, a family saga, and a brutal war story all at once. Fans of Game of Thrones level intrigue will find plenty to love here. So if you are looking for a passionate, authentic, and cinematic level show,
what do we do?
What we do best. Make terrible choices.
I'm out.
Up next is our one and only animated option on the list today, and this is the Mighty Nein. It premiered on Prime Video in November and delivered a darker, richer, and more emotionally complex stories than its predecessor. This series follows a completely different group of heroes. Instead of noble champions, the Mighty Nein are misfits, fugitives, and flawed survivors. The team includes a wizard haunted by a brutal past, a chaotic goblin rogue, a joyful but unpredictable cleric, a conflicted warlock, and a flamboyant and mysterious blood hunter. Their adventure begins when a powerful relic is stolen, pushing 2 major nations to the brink of war. Suddenly, this messy group of outsiders are caught in the middle of a political crisis that could destroy the entire continent. Despite this being an animated fantasy adventure, I really enjoyed the level of emotional depth. These characters are not polished heroes, they are broken people trying to find purpose. The show takes its time exploring their trauma, their guilt, and their secrets, and it turns that vulnerability into the emotional core of the story. Watching this group slowly form a bond and become a found family is one of the most rewarding parts of the series. The voice acting is also top-notch. The original Critical Role cast returns to voice the characters they created and played for years. That connection adds incredible chemistry, and every moment feels lived in and personal. Visually, the show is also stunning. The animation is more detailed and more dynamic than Vox Machina, with spectacular spell work and beautifully choreographed battles. Reviewers have praised the series for taking everything fans enjoyed before and pushing it to a higher level, so if you love shows like Arcane or Blue-Eyed Samurai, this is an absolute must-watch and one of the best animated series of the year. I have recommended this title a few times on the channel now, and it 100% deserves to be on a list of the best shows of 2025, and this is Netflix's dark and intense Western miniseries, American Primeval. Set in the violent American frontier of the 1850s, the series follows a diverse group of characters, including a mother and son on a dangerous journey west, a traumatized former soldier seeking redemption, and a Native American warrior navigating a rapidly changing world. Along the way, they encounter outlaws, indigenous tribes, cults, and the brutal forces of nature, all against the backdrop of the 1850s frontier. This is a mature show that gives an unflinching look at the harsh and brutal realities of this time period. Pulling absolutely no punches, this is far grittier and more graphic than your typical Western. American Primeval has a ton to enjoy, including what is going on behind the scenes. First, it is directed by Peter Berg, who is known for Friday Night Lights and Lone Survivor, and between his direction and what I can imagine is an amazing production team, they bring bring a visually stunning and very often violent depiction of the American West to life. The show blends action, drama, and even thriller elements together to keep you engaged and a lot of times not sure what is going to happen next. Like most of the shows on today's list, you do get standout performances from the cast. In this one, you get Taylor Kitsch, Betty Gilpin, Dane DeHaan, Joe Tippett, Jai Courtney, Shay Wyam, and a ton of others. I did read that some critics noted pacing issues and character development struggles, but I was easily able to look past those small imperfections because the intense storytelling and strong performances make it a compelling watch. Definitely worth checking out.
There is an energy in the air. We're on the precipice of something desperately exciting.
Another Netflix option on our list here, and one of the more recent shows on this list, is Death by Lightning. This show premiered on Netflix in early November and is a 4-episode historical thriller that is sharp, intense, and powered by 2 phenomenal performances at the center. The series tells the true story of President James Garfield and the unstable admirer who ultimately killed him. Michael Shannon delivers a powerful and deeply human performance as Garfield, a reluctant reformer who becomes president almost by accident. He is a man committed to progress and to cleaning up the corruption that defined the politics of the Gilded Age. Then across from him is Matthew McFadden as a delusional, failed lawyer who convinces himself he is destined for greatness. And their parallel journeys create a story that feels unbelievable. The reason this one hooked me is the sheer acting power on display. McFadden is mesmerizing, giving a performance that really shows his range. He have moments where he feels both pathetic and terrifying and flip-flops between emotions as will. Critics have called it role of a lifetime, and then Michael Shannon anchors the series with quiet strength, giving weight and dignity to Garfield's short but meaningful presidency. And together they create a dynamic that feels tense, tragic, and impossible to look away from. Also, they do an incredible job making this series feel relevant. Even though the story takes place in 1881, the themes are very modern. Political gridlock, corruption, and a system struggling to reform itself all feel painfully familiar. If you are looking for a gripping historical thriller, Death by Lightning is also the perfect binge. With only 4 episodes, it delivers a tight, focused story that is beautifully shot and meticulously detailed. It is absolutely worth watching because this story feels stranger than fiction.
Spineless.
What is wrong with you? No one likes you.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm here to save your career. Help me help you win.
You'll make a great studio head.
Another Apple TV Plus option on the list today is the standout comedy, The Studio, a sharp, satirical cringe comedy from the minds of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. This one premiered on March 26th and follows Matt Remick, the newly appointed head of Continental Studios, a struggling Hollywood movie studio. Matt, a self-proclaimed cinephile, faces the daunting task of balancing the studio's corporate pressures with his desire to create quality films. The series hilariously delves into the chaotic inner workings of Hollywood, exposing the insecurities of studio executives and their constant struggle with narcissistic artists, demanding corporate overlords, and the ever-present pressure to succeed. At its core, the studio is hilarious, and it is this insightful satire of the Hollywood movie-making process. The show excels in cringe comedy as the characters awkwardly navigate the industry's absurdities and corporate demands. The writing is sharp compared to a lot of Rogen and Goldberg's titles, and the show's cinematic style, including long takes that immerses you in the chaotic studio environment, really enhances the overall experience. But honestly, what makes the studio so engaging is its ensemble cast, led by Seth Rogen, who stars as the overwhelmed but well-meaning Matt. And as always, his comedic timing and relatable persona does add a refreshing everyman quality to this very often absurd iteration of Hollywood. Alongside Rogen, the cast includes Catherine O'Hara, Ike Barinholtz, and Catherine Hahn. And the dynamics between these characters, all navigating the madness of the film industry, creates a majority of the show's humor. Additionally, the series features a star-studded lineup of guest stars playing exaggerated versions of themselves, including Bryan Cranston, Martin Scorsese, Charlize Theron, Zac Efron, and many more, adding this interesting layer of realism and humor. This standout comedy of 2025 is already renewed for a second season. It offers a witty, star-studded, and often hilarious look behind the scenes, so a perfect laugh-out-loud option for your watch list.
It's easy to talk about forgiveness and mercy. It's not your loss.
Another HBO option on our list here today is the incredible crime drama Task. This miniseries is a tense, emotional character drama set in the working-class suburbs of Philadelphia. The series follows 2 men whose lives are shaped by grief and desperation. Mark Ruffalo stars as Tom, an FBI agent and former priest who is carrying immense personal loss, and he is put in charge of a task force investigating a series of violent drug house robberies. On the other side is Tom Pelphrey as Robbie, a single father and garbage man who turns to robbing drug houses run by a local motorcycle gang. Robbie is trying to protect his family after a devastating series of events, but every choice drags him deeper into danger. The show follows both men as their lives move toward an inevitable collision. One of the biggest reasons people were drawn to Task is the pedigree behind it. Brad Inglesby, the creator of Mayor of Easttown, brings back his signature atmosphere and emotional realism to this series. It is grounded, gritty, and filled with the small details that make these neighborhoods feel lived in. It is not just a crime show, it is a story about why people break, why they bend, and how they try to climb out of their damaged life. Then you have Mark Ruffalo bringing a quiet, heavy sadness to our main character that feels incredibly real, but really Tom Pelphrey steals the series. His portrayal of Robbie is raw, absolutely heartbreaking, and deeply human. This one is another perfect binge option. It is only 7 tightly paced episodes. The show delivers a complete and satisfying story without dragging anything out. The tension builds steadily episode to episode as the hunter and the hunted circle closer to each other, and every episode ends with a sense of momentum that keeps you watching. So if you're looking for a powerful, character-driven crime drama, Task is absolutely worth checking out for yourselves.
What are you looking for? You're making a big mistake. He's only a kid.
Dad, I haven't done anything!
Up next is the British psychological crime drama series Adolescence, and this series is an extremely tense and immersive exploration of the complexities of youth, crime, and the emotional fallout of a tragic event. The series centers on 13-year-old Jamie Miller, who is arrested for the murder of a girl at his school. The show unravels the events leading up to the crime and its immediate aftermath, primarily through the perspectives of those connected to Jamie. First thing I will say is how this series is filmed is incredible. They use this super unique filming style of these massively long continuous takes where each episode is essentially shot in these unbroken sequences. And a take that long is bonkers, so shout out to the cast and crew pulling all of this off, but really it works. It creates this heightened sense of intimacy with the characters and tons of unease as the story unfolds. That very unique element alone makes this one worth watching, but I also thought the story itself was very powerful. It takes you deep into the psychological landscape of its characters, exploring the turmoil within Jamie, his family, and the investigators. And throughout most of the show, the question of what happened and why a 13-year-old is accused of murder forms the central mystery, driving the narrative and keeping you engaged as the truth slowly unfolds. Plus, we get Stephen Graham, who I brought up before and think he is such an underrated actor, but he delivers a super powerful portrayal of this complex character, Jamie's defeated and distraught father. But with its unique filmmaking approach, Adolescence stands out as a bold and gripping series that takes an intense look into the complexities of youth, the pressures of growing up, and the consequences of a tragic crime. Well worth the 4-episode commitment to see it for yourself.
Dream big. Live your life without regrets. And write love songs that change the world.
Let's change the pace here and talk about one of the most lighthearted series on our list today, and this is Prime Video's The Runarounds. The story follows a group of recent high school graduates who decide to give their rock and roll dream one last shot before adulthood pulls them in different directions. Their band, The Runarounds, is led by Charlie, a talented young songwriter who believes they have one summer to make something real happen. As they chase gigs and try to land a record deal, they also deal with messy family drama, complicated romances, and secrets that could blow their friendships apart. What makes the show even more special is that the entire cast are real musicians, and the band exists in real life, giving every performance an authenticity. And the music is really good. The songs are catchy, energetic, and completely original. And because the cast plays everything live, the performances feel raw and electric. This one also hits that perfect nostalgic summer vibe. It captures the feeling of being on the edge of adulthood, when anything seems possible and every choice feels huge. It is a great mix of messy fun and emotional chaos. The friendships are the heart of the show, and watching these characters become a true found family is a nice cherry on top. And of course, fans of Outer Banks will immediately recognize the style. The Runarounds comes from the same creator, and it brings that same mix of sun-soaked drama, high-stakes emotion, and youthful energy. Only this time, the treasure they are chasing is their dreams.
An example needs to be made.
Thank you for your service. I'm offering you a chance to finish what you started.
Laws of engagement?
Flexible.
Another Prime Video option on our list today is the prequel series, The Terminal List: Dark Wolf. And this is perfect for anyone who loves tactical action, conspiracy, intrigue, and complex character stories. Instead of following James Reese, this one rewinds the clock and focuses entirely on Ben Edwards, played by Taylor Kitsch, giving us the full origin story of one of the franchise's most compelling characters. The series begins in 2015 when Ben is still a respected Navy SEAL. After a mission in Iraq goes disastrously wrong, Ben makes a series of impulsive choices that end his military career. That decision puts him on the radar of a CIA spy master who recruits him into a covert black operations unit, and from there, Ben is thrown into the dangerous world of global espionage, tracking a nuclear proliferation network and facing moral choices that slowly push Ben toward becoming the darker, conflicted figure fans met in the main series. And this is an action-packed show, but all the action feels like grounded, authentic tactical combat. The firefights feel chaotic and real, and the series leans into the gritty side of covert warfare rather than flashy spectacle. It is an intense, boots-on-the-ground thriller that feels cinematic from start to finish. But probably the biggest reason you will be hooked is simple: it's Taylor Kitsch and his performance. The show gives him room to explore the full emotional and psychological descent of this character. Who is this man torn between loyalty, guilt, and the seductive power of operating in the shadows? The entire story hinges on the question that defines him: which wolf does he feed, the light or the dark? So if you want a sharp, gritty espionage thriller with authentic action and a powerful anti-hero origin story, The Terminal List: Dark Wolf absolutely should be on your watch list.
There's something bad here in Derry.
Let's talk about a little horror here with our next title, and this is HBO Max's Welcome to Derry. It premiered on Max in late October and instantly became one of the top debuts in the platform's history. This is the long-awaited prequel to the films, and it absolutely delivers the kind of terrifying, atmospheric storytelling we were hoping for. The show takes us back to 1962, decades before the events of the films. It follows the Hanlon family as they move into town just as another cycle of disappearances begins. The time period adds so much tension. You have Cold War fear, social unrest, racism, and the everyday anxieties of the era, and all of that becomes the perfect breeding ground for Pennywise to feed on. The series taps directly into the darker chapters of the Stephen King novel, including the Black Spot tragedy, and begins exploring how the evil in Derry takes root long before the Losers Club ever arrives. And like Taylor Kitsch in Dark Wolf, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is 100% why you watch this show. His performance is so unsettling and magnetic, and seeing him in a new era gives the creators room to develop new forms of terror you never saw in the films. The longer format allows for more world building and more mythology, diving deeper into the origins of the creature, the deadlights, and even its connection to other moments in King's universe. You have to love the way this show expands the lore without losing the raw fear that makes the franchise iconic. The full cast is also fantastic. Jovanna Depo and Taylor Page bring real emotional weight to the Hanlon family's story, grounding all the supernatural horror in something human and relatable. And because this is an HBO production, the show looks cinematic. The 60s setting is gorgeous on the surface, but always feels haunted underneath, and the scares build. Each one gets bigger, bolder, and feel just as or more intense than what the films had time for. If you want a prestige horror series with incredible acting, rich mythology, and the return of one of the most terrifying horror villains of the last decade, Welcome to Derry is absolutely a must-watch. My next pick is our only international title on our list here today, and this is Netflix's Last Samurai Standing. This series blends the atmosphere of a historical epic with the intensity of a modern survival thriller. The story is set in 1878, right as Japan is transforming from the age of the samurai into a modern nation. The samurai class has been dismantled, poverty is widespread, and thousands of warriors are left without purpose. Into this world comes a mysterious invitation. Nearly 300 former samurai and fighters travel to Kyoto, chasing a life-changing fortune. Once they arrive, they discover they have been pulled into a deadly contest, and to survive, they must collect each other's wooden tags while racing from Kyoto to Tokyo in a brutal free-for-all engineered by powerful political figures who want the warrior class to destroy itself. At the center of the story is a legendary fighter who has sworn off violence. He enters the game only to save his sick wife and child, and that emotional weight gives the show a powerful heart. Watching him struggle with the past he is trying to escape while protecting the innocent people caught in the chaos is what makes the series more than just action. It becomes a genuine character journey, but the action is also a huge part of the appeal. Junichi Okada serves as both the lead and the action choreographer, and the fighting is stunning. It is realistic, expertly performed, and filmed with a level of precision that ranks among the best sword work on television. The show makes incredible use of the era too, mixing katana duels with rifles and early firearms as the old world collides with the new. The pace is tight, the cast of rivals and allies is memorable, and the production looks truly cinematic. With only 6 episodes in part 1, it is a fast and highly addictive binge. So if you love intense survival stories, historical drama, and some of the best handcrafted action of the year, Last Samurai Standing is absolutely a must-watch for 2025.
Xavier, is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
This next pick is either my favorite or second favorite title on my list today, and this is the Hulu original series Paradise. This is an American political thriller and post-apocalyptic science fiction series that is set 3 years after a doomsday event. The show takes place within a massive underground bunker where a city-sized sanctuary has been established for some of the world's most prominent individuals. Sterling K. Brown stars as Xavier Collins, a U.S. Secret Service agent who becomes embroiled in a shocking political crisis when the President of the United States is murdered within the confines of this isolated community. As Xavier investigates the crime, he finds himself under suspicion, forcing him to navigate the complex and dangerous environment of Paradise in his quest for the truth. I watched the trailer, I read previews, articles, and even recommended this one myself, and to be honest, this show was way more than I originally expected. It is this incredible blend of all these genres that gives us political intrigue, this claustrophobic tension of a post-apocalyptic setting, some cool futuristic technology, and this all creates a gripping and unique experience. I love all the twists and turns, the flashbacks that really piece together the mystery and how these characters came to this paradise. And Xavier's investigation unfolds against a backdrop of distrust, power struggles, and paranoia as the tight-knit community begins to unravel. Plus, the confined, ever-surveillance-filled nature of the bunker amplifies the stakes, heightening the suspense and drama as anyone could be the murderer or in on this nefarious plot. The series takes this very familiar murder mystery concept and makes it super intense, amplified by the isolating atmosphere of a post-apocalyptic world, and honestly, Sterling K. Brown kills it in this series, bringing depth and complexity to his role as Xavier, a man caught between his duty and a need for justice. With its early renewal for a second season, Paradise has clearly made an impact on more than just me, 100% worth checking out for yourself.
Somebody once told me, you have to go through hell to achieve resurrection. Hallelujah.
Another one of my favorite options on our list here today is the spin-off series Dexter Resurrection. This series brought the iconic character back in a way that completely reignited the franchise and pulled in massive streaming numbers. It picks up about 10 weeks after the end of Dexter New Blood, and we learn right away that Dexter Morgan survived the gunshot from his son Harrison. After waking from a coma, he discovers that Harrison has vanished. That sends Dexter to New York City on a desperate mission to find him and try to repair the bond he broke. But the moment Dexter arrives in the city, he realizes his old life is already closing in. Captain Angel Batista officially declares him alive and wanted, which turns the hunt for Harrison into a race against time. Meanwhile, Harrison is battling his own darkness. He has already acted on his violent urges, and as Dexter uncovers what his son has done, he tries to guide him and keep him from fully embracing the monster inside. Their uneasy father-son dynamic is the heart of the story, and watching these two damaged people try to connect again adds real weight to the chaos around them. The show also introduces major new villains and instantly raises the stakes. Uma Thurman steps in as Charlie, a dangerous and unpredictable force in the New York underworld who becomes a serious threat. And you have Peter Dinklage, who is incredible as Leon Prater, a billionaire who secretly leads a society of serial killer obsessives. Dexter infiltrating this world makes the season feel bigger, darker, and more unpredictable than ever. I also love the return of Harry Morgan as Dexter's inner voice, bringing back the classic feel of the original series, and with Batista closing in and old ghosts resurfacing, including the legacy of the Trinity Killer, the pressure on Dexter has never been higher, and Dexter Resurrection delivers exactly what you want from this franchise. The return of a legendary character, a deeper and more dangerous story, and a gripping new chapter built around a powerful father-son conflict. It is an easy must-watch for 2025.
We feel like we're doing all the talking here. Are there any questions you might have for us, Carol?
I guess to start with, what the
Now for our newest title on the list here today, we get an Apple TV Plus gem, and this is Pluribus. This premiered on Apple TV Plus in November and instantly became a major awards contender. With Vince Gilligan behind the camera and Rhea Seehorn in the lead, this show had prestige written all over it, and it absolutely delivered. The premise is wild. An extraterrestrial virus hits Earth and transforms almost everyone into a peaceful collective consciousness called the Others. They are happy all the time, they share every memory and thought, and they speak as one single individual, but a small handful of people are immune, and one of them is Caro, played perfectly by Rhea Seehorn. Carol is a cynical and miserable fantasy author who suddenly becomes the loneliest person on the planet. The others want to bring her into the collective because they truly believe it will make her happy. Carol sees it as the end of her identity. That tension creates a psychological thriller that feels fresh, strange, and unsettling in the best way. The show works for two big reasons. First, the Gilligan and Seehorn reunion is everything you hoped for. Seehorn is phenomenal, bringing a raw and darkly funny edge to a character who refuses to surrender her individuality. Second, the concept is done so differently. The others are not violent at all. They are relentlessly kind, cheerful, and helpful, which makes them terrifying. Every conversation is a pressure cooker as they try to gently convince Carol to give up her free will and join the happy collective. You also get some incredible world building in this one. It is a post-apocalypse where nothing is broken. The power stays on, the grocery stores are stocked, and society runs better than ever, but art, conflict, and personal identity are gone. Carol's search for the few remaining immune survivors becomes a gripping mystery that constantly raises new questions about what the joining really is and whether the collective has a darker purpose. So if you love high concept, character-driven sci-fi with a psychological edge, this is a must-watch.
Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
And to round today's list off with my last but certainly not least pick, we have Paramount Plus's Mobland. This series dives deep into the brutal world of London's crime families. The series centers around the escalating war between two families, with Tom Hardy playing Harry da Souza, the street-smart fixer. As tensions mount, Harry must navigate cutthroat rivalries and protect the family's interests, all while dealing with the complex dynamics of power and loyalty. The Harrigan family is led by Conrad, played by Pierce Brosnan, with his calculating wife Maeve, played by Helen Mirren. This is another title where well before it dropped, I was pretty excited about it. One, this is set in the world created by Guy Ritchie, so automatically something I am going to check out. Then two, it has a super top-heavy powerhouse cast with Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, and Tom Hardy, who seems to be able to morph and become the perfect fit for almost any role. And as this resourceful fixer, Harry, he is a character filled with intensity, and that 100% elevates the series. Then on the other hand, you have Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren bring gravitas to their roles as the formidable patriarch and matriarch of this crime family. You will get some quality action scenes throughout all the violent confrontations between rival families, but also the intricate relationships within the families themselves keep the narrative rather interesting. These dynamics add emotional complexity to the high-stakes world of crime, making it more than just a typical gangster saga. With Guy Ritchie serving as an executive producer, Mobland carries a stylish and darkly humorous edge that hits the mark for fans of his work. The first season finished, and there are apparently already talks for a second season. So jump in for a tense and gripping narrative that blends family drama, intense rivalries, and high stakes with a stellar cast. Definitely worth checking out for yourself. And that is going to do it for our list today. Thanks for hanging out with us all the way to the end. Check out some other binge-worthy shows here with these videos, but before you do, take a second to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us get great shows out to others looking for great shows and movies they can check out from the comfort of their own home. But thanks again, and we will see you in the next one.